Hello and welcome to this week's Top 10 Minor Region Power Rankings, where we cover the top 10 teams of the minor regions. I do not watch any of the games. I don't know if I said that last week, but I had somebody comment, on a video from last week on this video last week saying, something about I should watch the games. I don't have the time. So I use an algorithm to try and determine what the top 10 teams are in the minor regions using MSI as a, reference point because it's the only time VCS has played in the last few years. At Worlds, that algorithm will be adjusted for not only minor regions but major regions as well. So that's the deal. I don't have time to watch the games, so this is how I do it. If you are a fan of these regions and you watch the games, comment down below with your opinions. The stats only tell one part of the story. If you watch the games, you know the other side. As far as the two regions that won't be represented, Vietnam, I know you are better than this, but you do not have a team escaping everybody else statistically. Saigon Buffalo are 15th. TCL, Nasser, Esports Turkey, or Nasser Turkey Esports are 18th. They are undefeated right now in Turkey, but Istanbul did so bad at MSI. You have to crush the TCL to get that done. And move up the list. And as far as Saigon Buffalo are concerned, I mean, Vietnam is, I have the PCS weighted the most as like the top region, and Vietnam's weighted as the second top region. So everybody else ahead of them in other regions are just dominating their regions in such a fashion that it puts them higher than the other teams. But that's kind of the deal. Now, I put all the markers like this, and does this mean they're going to probably fall down? Yes, it probably does. 10th place from CBLOL is Faria Esports. They went 1-1 last week as CBLOL's split ended. So their split ends, they're 15-3. I believe they finished first, but they are not the top CBLOL team on the list. Goot would be their star player, going 6, 7, and 11. So star player is Goot going 6, 7, and 11 in the jungle. They went 1-1. Ninth place is the other CBLOL team, which was Loud. And that's going to be interesting because all split long it's been, a few weeks there it was Red Canids. And then it was Pain Gaming. Faria Esports has kind of been sticking around all split long, hence 15-3. But this 12-6 team in Loud has come on strong at the end of the split, statistically to the point where they actually are, stats-wise, looking better than anybody else in CBLOL. Cios, their support, would go deathless in 2 games, going 0, 0, and 24. One of those games was over Free Esports, so it's not like they played 2 very bad teams. They did end up playing somebody of value. And that's the thing. Now people might say, oh, well, CBLOL stinks. It's worse than, other regions. Well, I mean, at MSI, they were very, very respectable. And statistically, I mean, they're doing what they have to do to succeed. 8th place. Pentanet Gaming coming back up the list here. Pentanet GG of OS. Down the stretch, some OS teams, were fighting for, second place behind Chief, and PPG, at least statistically, have done that, going 13-8 on the split so far. Well, actually, I think their split's over now this week. 2-0 on Monday and Tuesday. Balkan, their jungler, would look fabulous. He looked fabulous on an Italy. Oops, almost fell. On an Italy in both games, going 15-2 and 21. So, that's the thing. Like, these teams are dominating their regions. That's why they show up here. You have to dominate your minor region to get on this board, and these teams are just killing it, figuratively and literally. I don't need that one anymore. See, so far, I'm just throwing them to the side as I go along. 7th place, who didn't play because Latin America is done. Well, with their split. I don't know why I'm doing some in caps and some not. I don't know why I'm doing it that way. But Astral, they're in the playoffs now. Last I saw, they had 3-0'd Ace, which means I believe Ace is out, their MSI representative, which makes sense. And Ace really struggled in summer. So I'd like to think that Latin America, geez, I think I have something on my glasses. I think Astral's going to be a lot better than Ace was at MSI. So Latin America should show up, obviously with more major region teams in that play-in group, play-in stage. It's going to be a little messy for these guys, but I think that Astral can at least put up a fight where Ace really, really, really looked bad. And, if they don't make it, anybody that doesn't make gets kicked out of their playoffs is going to be kicked off this list as we go along, because the minor region power rankings will continue in that way. And maybe I'll do that with the major region power rankings too throughout the playoffs. I don't know. I've debated on how I want to do that. But I think that'd be a good idea. As people are knocked out, I just take them out of the power rankings, and then we eventually end up with the Worlds teams and how they're ranked, right? From just regular season stats, not how I feel at Worlds. Obviously, the predictions for Worlds would be a different story because you have best of fives in there eventually and things like that to think about. And just how teams adjust. 6th place, we have Deep Cross Gaming from PCS. Deep Cross Gaming finishes 13-5. This past week they went 2-2. They'd go 2-2. Nesty 15-7-25 in mid. The PCS is definitely a mess. There are a lot of very good teams at the top and a lot of sus teams at the bottom. So we'll see what happens. The PCS, I believe, is the strongest minor region. So in the end, who's the two teams that are gonna be represented? I don't know. I think honestly, maybe they should have done 3 instead of a 4th LEC team. Hot take, but honestly, I think that there's a lot of good PCS teams out there that we should, not, overlook. 5th place, J Team, finishing 13-6. It's not really fair to J Team for me to drop them, but I am. They went 5-2 this past week. Okay. So I'll make sure I've been stepping on my charger. Well, my battery is right under my feet. I'm afraid I'm going to unplug it by stepping on it. 13-6 on the split. 5-2. They make up all those COVID games, but they lose the tiebreaker at the end. They're in the playoffs, but 13-6, 5-2. Lil V, their 80 carry, would go 46, 12, and 40. Really, they played very well. I will say that I think Rocky's stats were pretty bad. They were very bad. Unit Boy's stats weren't that good either across 7 games. So pretty much is the bot lane that was doing work for J Team over this last stretch, as everyone else kind of facilitated. Whether that's good or bad is whole nother situation. I'm thinking maybe for the PCS, when it gets to the end of playoffs, is there's nothing to watch on the day that there's playoffs, I might, watch the games. I might do that for any of the minor regions, honestly, as, playoffs start, then there's not daily games to worry about all the time. Maybe I will, cover finals to get a very, very small, minuscule idea about a team, because I feel like to know the full grasp of a team, you have to watch all their games. Not just the one at the end, because maybe they're meta dependent. Who knows? And honestly, I feel like, you gotta be honest if a team is meta dependent. 4th, Detonation Focus Me from Japan. Detonation Focus Me, now 16-2, went 2-1 this past week. Lost to Sengoku Gaming again, but Sengoku Gaming are not strong enough to end up on this list. Who knows? I mean, they will eventually, I imagine, because Japan still has games to play. 19, 1, and 13. So Yao Rung 19, 1, and 13. In mid, very good week. Even losing a game, somehow only has 1 death in 3 games. Very big KDA player, I think. I mean, I've got that vibe at Worlds too, so, you know, you take the good with the bad. If that's the style of player they are, that's the style of player they are. But DFM have always been the top Japanese team, and it continues to show. But Sengoku Gaming, I'm going to keep an eye on, in playoffs. If they continue to beat DFM, they might just be that team that just beats DFM in the playoffs and goes to Worlds, which, would be fun. Someone different. I'm on the board, so yep. PSG Talon, 3rd place. I do think PSG Talon on paper is the best team, but statistically it is not the case. Oh, why? That's supposed to be 16 and 2 and 2 and 1, but I threw the marker to the side. So 14 and 4 for PSG, and they went 2 and 1 this past week. PSG Gory in mid put on a clinic, going 35, 11, and 26 in 3 games. 2 of those games obviously were double-digit games. I think he had a 13 and an 11. Very, very good week in their 2 wins. However, they lost a game, and it happened to be against a team that's going to be in 2nd place. So that's a thing. PSG, very good. We'll see how they do in best of 5s. I think that's where they will thrive. Hanabi, Kaiwing, Unified, Gory, and Buri's kind of still sus. I think that's going to be their problem at MSI. I mean, not MSI, but at Worlds. Where J-Team Kong Yu doesn't have that problem. Kong Yu is elite. As a minor region jungler, I know when you know somebody from a minor region and they haven't been to Worlds in a minute, it's a pretty big deal. You're like, oh, well, I know who that is. 2nd place, Frank Esports. And that's a shocker because they're 12 and 7 and they lost their tiebreaker. They lost a tiebreaker to Oyster, but the problem is Oyster was on struggle street this past week. They're not winning games in convincing fashion, and their losses are blowouts, where Frank Esports tends to do the opposite. And I think they lost to Oyster by like nothing, pretty much. It was a very close game, at least from what the scoreboard tells me, because that's all I saw. But they went 13 and 1. M&M went 22, 2, and 29 this past week at 80 carry. If they're playing a Smash Mouth brand of League of Legends in the PCS, that's a thing. Like, you're putting up big kills when you want, big kills and just building leads, taking objectives, things like that, like when you are winning, and just playing aggressive. And sometimes that fails and you lose, but you try and stay in the game. Maybe in a best of 5, that's the way to go. But then again, it could be a best of 1 team. Like I said, PSG I expect to do well. Frank Esports Club, a lot of players are really unknowns. I believe their mid laner is actually loaned out from PSG, Pretender. Not 100% certain, but I thought that might be the case. And if it is, that is some ironic stuff right there. 1st place, continuing to stay up there, Chief Esports Club. Finishing the split 21 and 0. Finishing the season 40 and 2. You've got to respect that. I don't think people are. I really don't. There's a few LCS players on this team. There's an LCK level jungler on this team, arguably. This is no joke of a team. And in spring, they choked. Will they do it in summer? Hopefully not, for the LCO's sake. Because, Order didn't win a game at MSI. Of course, they got put in the region of death. I think any minor region team except PSG would have lost every game against G2, and well, Saigon might have beaten EG once out of 4 games. I mean, and I might hear the, oh no, that's not the case, but I don't remember how the Rumble stage went in hindsight right now. But if they were 0-2, I'm going with 1-4 and being nice. But Chief Esports Club were the dominant team in spring, couldn't get it done. They're the dominant team now. Hopefully they get it done. Reyes, 17-3-11. Tally in mid. But Arthur in the jungle, solid player. Topun is okay. Aladoric in support is also, a player that should be respected. I think that this team's really good. A few years ago, an LCO team got out. I forget if it was MSI or Worlds, honestly, but they got out, and that's something to think about. I think that you need to respect that. Now, if you have any comments or anything about your region, because stats are only one part of it, comment down below. I love to get some insight and some scouting reports because that's the only way I'm going to know anything about your region outside of, what the scoreboard tells me. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Tomorrow I will have my top 25 power rankings out for across all, league, LOL Esports or whatever. And so thank you for watching.